Many people approach gemstones looking for quick results without first understanding their nature. Before we begin, let me share a brief example from my practice. A client was wearing emerald purely based on Janma Rashi without analyzing the full horoscope. I'll explain why this mattered later in the video. Sarvebhya Namaskaraha, I am Dr. Archna Murthy, a professional astrologer, and you're on my channel where I share and spread awareness about Jyotish Shastram. In part 1, I explained why emerald is not an ordinary green stone, how it represents Budha, and why it should never be worn casually. In this part, I want to take that understanding further and talk about the birth of emerald, its natural characteristics, the benefits and adverse effects described in classical texts, and finally, the traditional method of wearing emerald, explained simply and responsibly, with a few case studies. Classical and traditional gem texts describe emerald as a rare and naturally delicate precious stone. Among all sources, Colombian emeralds are traditionally regarded as the finest in quality. They are known for their depth of color and vibrancy. Emeralds of secondary quality are traditionally found in regions like Russia and Brazil. One important point to understand is this: emerald is not a stone that easily appears flawless in nature. That itself tells us something about its nature, that it is refined, not sensitive. Emerald is a gemstone that may appear transparent in some cases, non-transparent or semi-transparent in others. Both are considered natural. A common feature mentioned in classical descriptions is the presence of natural nets or internal patterns, especially in transparent emeralds. Because of this, flawless emeralds are rare. Stones without any internal marks are uncommon. Traditional texts therefore remind us that natural perfection is not the norm for emerald. Emerald is also described as visually pleasing, fresh in appearance, soothing to the eyes. These characteristics are symbolic of Mercury's role in calming, clarifying and refining the mind. What are the benefits of wearing an emerald? When emerald is suitable and Mercury is supported, remember that traditional texts describe benefits such as improvement in intelligence and learning ability, clarity of thought and expression, strengthening of the nervous system, better coordination between mind and action, professional growth in areas involving thinking, communication and analysis. Classical descriptions also mention its role in improving mental balance, reducing confusion and indecision, supporting emotional steadiness. Some traditional references associate emerald with benefits related to speech-related difficulties, learning challenges, mental fatigue. All these are directly connected to Budha's domain. In one case, a postgraduate student faced persistent difficulty with concentration despite consistent effort. Now, after I analyzed the horoscope, it showed that Mercury to be supportive but weak. But after I recommended emerald, the student experienced better focus and clarity while studying. Now, what are the adverse effects of wearing it? This is a section that classical texts treat very seriously. Traditional descriptions mention that a defective emerald or an emerald worn without suitability can lead to disturbances such as health-related issues, loss of peace of mind, disturbances in family harmony, instability related to wealth. Specific references also mention problems connected to digestion and gastric issues, nervous system imbalance, mental restlessness, professional uncertainty. Now, these descriptions are not to frighten you, but to remind you that emerald amplifies Mercury sharply. Mercury governs subtle systems, mind, nerves, speech, and disturbances here are felt quickly. I'll share a simple example from my practice. A client was wearing emerald only because their Janma Rashi was Kanya. But after analyzing his complete horoscope, I saw that Mercury was functionally weak and connected to challenging houses. Once the gemstone was removed and the chart was addressed correctly, the mental restlessness he was experiencing gradually reduced. What are the traditional methods of wearing an emerald? Classical texts do give a structured method for wearing emerald, but without unnecessary complexity. Traditionally, emerald is worn on a Wednesday, Budhavara, Wednesday. It can be set in gold or silver and worn on the little finger on your right hand. The wearing is associated with Budha and Vishnu Upasana, and mantras such as Vishnu Stotram can be recited to energize emerald before wearing. However, it is important to understand that mantra, method and suitability are interconnected and are traditionally guided by a knowledgeable astrologer. Gemstones were never meant to be self-prescribed remedies. Now, important don'ts when choosing or wearing gemstones. Before concluding, there is one important point to clarify, not just about emerald, but about gemstones in general. Gemstones are often chosen using very generic methods, and this is where mistakes happen. Selecting gemstones only based on Janma Rashi or moon sign, for instance, you're wearing an emerald just because you're Kanya or Mithuna Rashi. This you're considering just one graha and not the complete horoscope, and hence gives an incomplete picture. Or choosing a gemstone based on sun sign is a static and generic approach that ignores the horoscope's deeper structure. Prescribing gemstones purely based on Lagna without analyzing the Lagna Lord again becomes a broad recommendation rather than a personalized remedy. There is also a belief that gemstones should automatically change with every Mahadasha. That means when your dasha changes, you change your gemstone without analyzing the graha's role in your horoscope. But this is wrong. In classical Jyotisha, gemstones were never prescribed this way. The complete horoscope was always studied before strengthening any graha. This is why gemstones were never meant to be self-prescribed remedies. I have explained these different approaches to gemstones selection in detail in this video, which I will link here for those who wish to understand this subject more deeply. Final takeaway. Emerald is a Budha Tattva gemstone that works on the mind, speech and nervous system. When worn with understanding, it refines. When worn casually, it can disturb. That is why emerald should always be approached with knowledge, clarity and responsibility, not assumptions. With this, we complete the Emerald series. My intention with these two parts was to help you understand the classical Jyotisha perspective behind emerald. Well, with knowledge comes awareness. With awareness comes insight. It is this Jyotish Shastram insight that will help you plan your life better with clarity and understanding. If this way of understanding Jyotish Shastram resonates with you, you're welcome to stay connected here. Dhanyavadaha.